In a bold move that has sent shockwaves through Moscow, hundreds of US-NATO armored vehicles and battle-ready troops have arrived at the Ukrainian border. This is not just another military exercise, it's a clear and powerful message. One that could redefine the balance of power in Eastern Europe. Satellite images and on-the-ground footage reveal long convoys of armored personnel carriers, main battle tanks, and logistical support vehicles stretching for miles. The arrival marks one of the largest NATO deployments near Ukraine since the war began, with sources confirming units from the United States, French, Germany, Poland, and other NATO allies. The location of this buildup is no accident. The deployment positions NATO forces just a short distance from Russian and separatist-controlled territories. Military analysts say this is meant to serve as both a deterrent and a rapid response capability should the conflict in Ukraine spill over into NATO territory. Russia has condemned the move, calling it a dangerous provocation and warning of serious consequences. Meanwhile, NATO officials insist the deployment is purely defensive, aimed at protecting alliance members in Eastern Europe from any potential aggression. With tensions already high and diplomatic channels faltering, this new chapter in the Ukraine crisis raises a crucial question. Is this the final warning before an even greater escalation? Or can both sides step back from the brink? Let's break this down. This isn't just about moving tanks and troops, it's about sending a signal, and that signal is unmistakable. NATO is showing that it's ready to respond, not just in words, but in force. For Russia, the sight of hundreds of armored vehicles at its doorstep is a reminder that the West is not retreating. The Kremlin knows that once such a force is in position, any aggressive move in Ukraine could instantly trigger a much larger confrontation. But here's the danger. Deployments like this can also feed into a dangerous cycle of escalation. Each side perceives the other's actions as a threat, and each responds with more force. That's how conflicts spiral out of control, even when neither side truly wants a direct war. For Ukraine, however, this deployment is a major morale boost. It shows that their allies are not only supplying weapons from a distance, but are also willing to physically stand close to the line. The psychological impact on both Ukrainian troops and civilians is huge. The coming weeks will be critical. NATO's presence at the border could deter further Russian offensives, or it could prompt Moscow to push back even harder. The balance between deterrence and provocation is razor thin. One thing is clear. Eastern Europe hasn't seen a military posture like this in decades. The world is watching closely, and what happens next could set the tone for the future of European security for years to come.